Hey, what's up everybody? It's Carl here, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of my tips and tricks for developing self-discipline and ultimately achieving great success. So, I'm not the best person, to be giving this advice. I myself have read just tons and tons of books on self-discipline, and from what I've read, there is lots different ways, but just know that self-discipline is a skill that anybody can learn. And as we drive along this journey, I'm actually heading to Amazon. I'm going to start doing some more of these fulfillment by Amazon business model type stuff. So let's go ahead and we'll get driving, and I'm going to teach you about how to stay self-disciplined. All right, so one of the things you need to know is that, again, self-discipline is a skill. And one of the books that really helped me out on my journey is, there's a book by Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy, what he says in The Miracle of Self-Discipline is that when you practice it, when you avoid these current temptations, right, and you avoid them and you put yourself in good environments, it's painful, like it sucks. Nobody wants to ever be self-disciplined. We hate it. I hate it. On a Friday night, the last thing I want to do is avoid something that I truly want to indulge in. And the hardest part is just saying no. So again, what I found is that the more that I can control my impulses, the more that I'm going to be able to change my environment. And that's ultimately the secret. I was just thinking about today, like what am I going to do? Who should I go talk to and stuff like that? But self-discipline has taught me so much. I mean, if I think about it over the course of my life, all the mistakes that I've made and all the damage that I've done, I'm in a position now where I can confidently say that even though I went ahead and I had some bad behaviors, ultimately it was self-discipline that got me through a lot of the struggles that I've been dealing with. So what I'm here to say is that I wanted to do the things that they wanted me to do. I did them anyway because I knew that I needed to get the honorable discharge, and I did, and I got the honorable discharge. And then now that I'm about to graduate college, I think about the same thing. I stuck with college, and it was hard. I had to discipline myself to stay focused on the classes, but the most important thing is that I'm here where I am now. I drive a decent car, I have a decent amount of money, and what gave me all that discipline, I don't know, but it had a lot to do with not being happy with my current situation. A lot of times it was lonely. Friends, they come and go, but for the most part, I managed to stick with it, and I just kept working on businesses that I wanted to take off and make more money, and ultimately I'm here where I am now, and I'm comfortable, I'm happy. Again, I'm about to graduate, and I'm super excited about where things are going. The road is endless, the options are endless, and will I continue to be disciplined? You betcha. There's nothing that's going to stop me from enjoying my life. And again, it's like a hard pill to swallow, but once you understand it, like many other things in life, self-discipline is one of those things where, like, for example, we're driving right now and there's all these advertisements that are going on, right? I could easily go and I could go to Home Depot, I could go to Subway, I could go to all these different places, and I can go indulge myself, and I could I could eat, I can do whatever. But when you are solely focused on things that are going to bring you more value, going to bring you more money, when you, like, your logical brain is telling you, yeah, that's not a good idea, but your emotions are what tell you, like, oh, I'm feeling hungry, or I'm feeling like sexual or something like that. Like these, especially sex is one of those things where it is so impulsive. People act on their sexual desires and frustrations more than anything else in the world. I think a lot of research can prove that. And it's ultimately very important that you control yourself. because there's a lot of births that are not planned. Like, people are going to have sex and they're going to have a kid, and sometimes it wasn't planned. But I don't want to, I know there's a lot of us that happen to us. Not to say that you can't start over or you can't start today or anything like that, because you can. It's really important to know that every day is a new day, and that self-discipline, although we fail, and I fail all the time, I give in to impulsive behaviors, but as long as you're constantly focusing on the goals that you have, as long as you're focusing on the things you want to achieve, whether it's more money for your bank account, whether it's better relationships, anything like that, it's really, really, really important that you're concentrating on the outcome of achieving that certain level of measurable success, instead of acting irrationally and going for things that aren't going to bring you value in the long term. That's like the big thing, is long-term versus short-term thinking. And for me, I've always been a long-term thinker, and it's benefited me so much. Long-term thinking is one of those skills that you just have to, you have to think about, where else could I be right now? I could be hanging out with some people, I don't know, like smoking weed. I could be doing drugs. Like, I'm just speaking from experience, some of the things that I've done in the past. And there were decisions that we make that aren't going to propel us into the future. So for me, it was definitely important for me to think as far ahead as possible. And yeah, there's people in other countries that live in the moment. Like, that's their culture. They live in the moment. And in America, we don't necessarily live in the moment as much. We're more planners naturally, just for whatever reason. We live in a delayed gratification world, where in America, it's more or less, okay, I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to work on my degree, and then I'm going to get a degree after 4 years, or I'm working at a job and I'm going to get paid in 2 weeks. Like, ever since we kind of sort of left the agricultural revolution, now we're in a situation where we're all about things happening for us in the future. It's a delayed gratification, so it's really important. And I got a lot of people here on the live, on this live broadcast, so that's really cool. And feel free to answer any questions. Don't be shy. I'm not shy. This was all new to me, but Facebook Live was a way for me to get, the messages out there. And so I'm kind of a loner, all right? I hang out. Hey, what's up, Mark? I see you. All right. So I'm actually kind of a loner. And does it suck? Yes, sometimes it does. But it's like one of those trade-offs, where, again, I could be out partying, and that would be great and stuff like that. But what's going to happen tomorrow morning? I'm probably going to be broke because I spent a lot on alcohol. I'm going to be spending a lot of my time. Is it really bringing me value? And don't get me wrong, you should always reward yourself. Rewarding yourself is absolutely important. And how do I reward myself after hard self-discipline behavior? Honestly, I'll just chill. Sometimes I'll go to a lounge, I'll kick it, and or maybe, it's just finding a reward system for you is like the biggest thing. Is what I deserved it, or I worked a full 8 hours, I did hard, and I put all that time in. Well, a reward for me, and it may not be the same for you, but I actually love money. Money to me is so much, and I'm a humble person, but I look at money as a measurable result, where I can measure, okay, I worked hard, I shipped a lot of packages today through Amazon or whatever. So the reward then is I'm going to see money coming into my bank account, or I put all this time looking up a stock in the stock market, and I ended up getting this portfolio that's just so massive. So self-discipline is what I had for the longest time, and it really helped me out a lot. I want to say that the reason a lot of people sell things irrationally, like, say for example, there's fear that a company is going to go bust. A lot of times stocks don't always go bankrupt. Very seldom do a lot of companies go bankrupt. And what it's done for me is I've been able to hold on to my assets. I've been able to hold on to my portfolios. I never sell because I'm not emotionally driven. I'm more consistent with my investing. Therefore, I know that if I invest more money on a regular, consistent basis, whether it's $5, $10, I know I'm going to get ahead no matter what, because it's that practice. And discipline comes in so many shapes and sizes. Like there's I mean, you can be disciplined in planning every day. You can be disciplined in scheduling your day for the next day. Like you could be disciplined in coming out with a song every month or every day or every week or whatever it is that you're disciplined about. It could be saying no to drugs and alcohol. It could be saying no to just about anything, really. It's a lot actually to do with saying no. Saying no is really one of those important things that you should focus on. I try to say no as much as possible to things that aren't going to bring me happiness. And what I want to lean on the most is for you to understand is that discipline is one of those things that bring you that long-term happiness. When we act emotionally and impulsively on things that are going to bring us instant gratification, yes, they bring us instant gratification, but for the time being, like hooking up with somebody right now is going to bring us instant gratification, right? But the thing is, tomorrow it's the same thing. It's going to be just a different girl or a different guy, whoever you're hooking up with. It's just different. And so when you are concentrating on day-to-day things where it's just bringing you instant gratification for that moment, like stopping through a drive-through or just eating something that is not healthy for you, that irrational, I'm hungry, instead of being disciplined and waiting and preparing your own meals and cooking, that right there, the act of being conscientious about what you're putting in your body, what you're feeding yourself, and we can even go as far as exercise. Hey, Curtis, I see you. Awesome. I'm glad more people are getting on. So when you're conscientious about getting discipline in your behavior, great things happen. I can't stress that enough. My life has transformed when I learned to stop thinking about the moment, stop thinking about this instant gratification stuff. Great example, when I was younger, I used to make a lot of songs, musical songs, and I still do make a lot of songs, but when I was releasing these songs, I wasn't paying attention to how the lyrics were. I was freestyling and I wasn't planning, and I just wanted to put a song out there and I wanted people to hear it. And as soon as I started doing that, I wasn't getting really any kind of results. There was no quality. And the quality is what you want. You want to strive for quality. And these people that are putting out great songs on the internet and the radio, they they took a lot of time making the song. I learned it from my cousin Austin. Take the time, make a great song, or take the time, make a great painting. Take the time and build a project. Take the time to nourish things and develop things, and the quality is there. That's discipline at its finest. And once you get disciplined in your behaviors, great things happen. They transform, and it's not easy. This stuff sucks. I hate it. I absolutely hate being disciplined, but when you know how to play the game, you're going to win. Just like stock market investing, I know how the game works. Now that I know about how to get return on investment, it's a game. It doesn't need to be any more complicated, but disciplined behaviors are what's going to get you to the top. And it's been working for me, and I'm going to continue to do it, and you can too. It's not rocket science, it's just hard, and nobody wants to do it. That's why a lot of people fail. You don't need to, I miss you too, Curtis. Yeah, I'll drive safe. If anybody, I drive slow. I'm like the slowest driver. I'm probably going 30 miles an hour in a 45. I check, probably get pulled over for it, but yeah, I'm pretty safe. And you'd be safe too over there in Ohio. So, yeah, I mean, I hate being self-disciplined, but I know how to play that game. If everybody else is willing to indulge themselves in impulsive behaviors, that's what's going to set them back every single time. And we don't realize it, but that's what's happening. And the more you can be self-disciplined in your behavior, the more that you're going to see these results. It just sucks. I mean, there's times when I get home from work and I'm sitting there and I'm in my bed, I'm laying in my bed, I'm thinking to myself, man, what could I do? And it might be something stupid. I might make some wrong decision. Like it could be looking at porn, or it could be looking at things that aren't going to bring me success the next day. And then after, you feel guilty, you feel like your rational brain is telling you, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this, but we do it anyway. And that leads to other compounding effects, like habitual things where you start indulging in activities where it isn't the logical side of the brain. And this is all logical. We do things because we're emotional. Humans are emotional people. Hey, Kingsley, I see you too. And we do things because humans are emotional. We are emotional creatures. And it's a shame because I don't think they teach this enough in schools. Definitely they didn't teach it in high school, and they certainly don't teach it in college about how to handle your emotions and how to be disciplined. I mean, can you think of a class where they taught you how to be self-disciplined? No, and that's the answer. Like, that is the answer. That's what's going to get you out of poverty. And I'll say it again, that is self-discipline is what's going to get you out of poverty. When you can imagine it, your brain wants to invest. You need to save $100 every month to get out of the situation that you're in, but your emotional side of the brain is telling you that oh, it's okay. I'm just going to go and I'm going to go mess around for tonight. I'm going to go get drunk. And I don't blame you. I do the same thing. And now that I'm a little bit older, and I think as I get wiser and older, things will start coming more into play. Like, I'll realize, okay, I need to say no. I don't need to be drinking tonight. And I want to touch on one more thing that I think is pretty relevant to this video. And it's again, in the beginning I addressed this book by Brian Tracy. It's called The Miracle of Self-Discipline. And he talks about it, and Brian Tracy's great. He talks about just disciplining yourself, and he goes off and on. I can't remember the whole deal, but what I did follow in one of his other videos by Brian Tracy was how to set goals. Tell me the last time your institution, college, whatever, had you set goals. They don't teach it. They don't teach you how to set goals in college. But imagine if you will, all right, if you set goals every single day for 30 days straight. I mean, already you're like, I don't want to do this, Carl. I don't want to do anything for 30 days. And you don't have to. I'm not saying that's going to be the make or break. But what I am going to tell you is, A, they don't teach it in schools. So that might be your first indicator that this might be a good idea, simply because your logical brain is telling you that setting goals might be the answer. So therefore, you should probably do it. And what setting goals every day, like handwriting your goals, right, every single day, what it does is it puts things into perspective. Now you have something to strive for, you have something to go after, and it's just amazing. What it's done for me is I did it for 30 days. I wrote my goals, 10 of them, and every day they change, but I did it for 30 days, and it just changed the way I thought about my life. Every day I was taking more action, and every day I was making something of myself. That's what goals did to me. So these little tools, these tips and tricks have a lot to do with self-discipline, and I don't do this stuff every day, but I do know that it's always going to be in the back of my mind, and then I know it's the secret to success. Whatever you do, even if money isn't your thing, hey Aaron Crum, I see you too. Glad to have you. And the more that I do these things, on an on and off basis, it's still in the back of my brain. I'm always thinking about being successful and what is it that I need to do. And it comes down to the simple nitty gritty. You got to grind. You got to be tough. It's okay to take breaks, but for the most part, you definitely need to do things on a somewhat of a regular basis where you're setting goals every now and then, working out every now and then. I mean, we all slip. I don't work out every single day, but I know that it's good for me, and I know that's what I need to do. So your rational brain, again, is telling you that that's what you need to do. Hey, Travis, I see you. Thanks for joining us. Heck yeah, Curtis. I love the inspiration. Yep, one person at a time. So, yeah, again, it comes down to you, and I want to help you out, This isn't one of those sales pitchy videos. I understand. I'm a marketing major at a time. I get that. And it has nothing to do with money for me. In the long run, yeah, I might build a following and you guys might subscribe to whatever. But for the most part, this helps me out. This gets more people on board. And ultimately, what I really want is people to be more self-disciplined. It's not easy. I don't expect a whole lot. But for the most part, self-discipline is definitely what got me where I'm at. And it's been on and off. The military, Travis, you'll know that it teaches you to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but when you stick through things and you persevere, you'll find that there's rewards. Just like when you graduate and you get your honorable discharge in the military, or when you graduate college, there's that reward. That's why self-discipline is the answer. So more or less, when you wake up in the morning, you definitely want to kind of plan your days. You want to figure out, how can I be more self-disciplined for the day? And that's what's worked for me. So we'll see if I got some tools and some tricks for you. I have lots of different templates that I use that help me get kind of refocus and stuff like that, and it has a lot to do with, there's an urgent and important matrix that I use, and I downloaded that, and it's going to be on my website, but it's there so that you can kind of take what's on your mind and putting it down on paper. The best thing you can do when you're having a lot of busy thoughts going on in your head is write things down on paper. When I write things down on paper, the fact that the hand is connected with the paper puts things into perspective a lot more for me, and I'm able to then evaluate what's written on the paper later. I'm able to take that and I'm able to organize it, because our brains, it can't handle a whole lot of things going on at one time. You need to put things down on paper. And what does that have to do with self-discipline? Well, just one more tool is, you know that you need to put things on paper. So that's kind of my spiel about that. When I drive around and I look around here in Vegas, I see a lot of people who are just kind of walking around aimlessly, not any kind of purpose-driven people. Not everybody, but there are quite a few that I see here. You know, there's homeless people. For whatever reason, they're homeless. I have no idea, but I'm not here to act like I understand what's going on in their lives. But what I can tell you is that it might have something to do with the way they were raised and how they think and their ability or willingness to learn about new things in life. And when we stop seeking instant gratification, we start looking then outward and forward driven, where we start planning things, and great things happen. And so as far as like the homeless population goes, I want to go ahead and take a stab at it. Hey Aaron, good to see you. I want to take a stab at it, and I want to say that the reason a lot of people, I think, are homeless is because of the sense of purpose, and a lot to do with drug addictions. That is huge. Like, there's a lot of homeless people that don't have much, and they then turn to drugs and alcohol, and I do the same thing. I would. If I didn't have much going for me, in the sense that I didn't have money or any kind of resources, I would do the same thing too. I would drink and take drugs and stuff like that. If you can't see me, my bad. Just hear the audio. But I think that the reason why, like, they're homeless a lot of times is because the way that their psychology is, the way that their mindset is not where it needs to be, and it's actually not their fault. It has a lot to do with, I think, education, the willingness to learn, and simple desire. You know, desire is a lot of things. And for me, along my journey, what's helped me is following other people who have been there. And that is, in a sense, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but kind of looking to somebody for guidance. And when I seek people who are better off than me, I get envious. I do. I envy people who are better than me at what they do, and that's okay. It's a hard pill to swallow, but what I do is I learn from those who are successful. And those of you who are just joining us, again, this topic is about self-discipline and how it has a lot to do with everything. Self-discipline is the key to riches. In the books that I've read, and I've read quite a few, they all say the same thing. You know, when you look under the iceberg, you know, when you see an iceberg, you see the top of it, but what's underneath the iceberg is what's really going on. How do people get successful? You know, and a lot of it has to do, actually, a huge part of it has to do with self-discipline. Being able to delay gratification because there's things that we don't see necessarily in the future, but we want them now, and we have to have them now, and we are always looking for instant things, and that's the problem. That's a huge problem, because when you start focusing on things that are happening in the moment, then you start looking around and you're like, okay, how do I get the next cigarette, right? How do I get that next puff? How do I have sex with the next person? Or how do I look at porn? Like, it's instant gratification, and it ruins the mind. It was that word, contaminates the mind, and it throws you off focus. But when you can start delaying gratification and you can start thinking, okay, this is going to make me richer. What do I have to do? Well, I'm going to have to invest consistently. The payoff is going to be substantial. The interest is going to compound. We all know this. Everybody knows about compound interest. It's no-brainer, but nobody does it because they are seeking instant gratification. They want to know what's in it for them right now. And it's okay to know or want what's in it for you right now, but you also got to be willing to be persistent. Being able to wait and wait and wait. Those who wait, those who are patient, hardworking, and wait, are the ones who get the fruit. The fruit is amazing, and it just sucks, again, because I was never taught this. How I was raised, I don't think I had the greatest life, but what I'm learning is, you know, I have the willingness to learn. I love reading about other people who are successful and how they've gotten there, whether it was money or whatever their name to fame was. I can see people for what they are, their character. I can see them for how they stand, you know, at attention, for example, and how I can observe them in their ways. And I really believe that if you see somebody who is self-disciplined, you can see it. You can see it in their behavior. You can see by the way they talk, the way that they think. They're not instantly gratified. Who wants that? I don't want instant gratification, because I know that the secret to life is self-discipline, and those who wait are going to get the most. Think about it. If you started a business and you were expecting it to happen overnight, it's not going to happen overnight. The biggest of businesses took a long time to get where they're at, and that should be a great example for you to emulate, knowing that when you start something, you're going to finish it, and you're going to finish it in a length of time, and then that length of time, it's going to pay off. That's what investing is. That's what self-discipline is. So that transposes or relates to a lot of different areas of interest and fields of study and business. Whatever it is, just knowing that self-discipline is the answer. And I really hope that you got some value out of this, because I'm no perfect angel, but I do know that there are times when I got to buckle down. You know, I can't just keep doing what I'm doing. You know, it's not working for me. It's not the right way of going about the things that are not bringing me success, you know, and success in the eyes of everybody is completely different. You know, what's successful to me may not be for you, and I'm not here to judge. Whatever it is, I personally like to measure things, and money is an easy way for me to measure things. So I can set goals, and I can raise my income, and I can get more money. But for you, success might be just seeing a relative or calling a relative once a day for the rest of your life, or increasing that to 2 relatives per day, making contact, whatever it is. So that's my spiel about self-discipline. And again, I hope you get some value from this. It's been a wild ride, and I think that in the future here, you're going to see me getting more and more self-discipline in my behaviors. You're going to start seeing me in different environments. I'm going to be talking to different people, not the same people I once grew up with. I'll still keep in touch with them. However, I will be doing different things, because in order to become something different in your life, in order to attain something that is out of your reach, you got to do things that you've never done before. And when we continue to do things that we've always done before, it's not necessarily going to bring you the results that you need. When you want to scale your business, you have to do things that you've never done before. You got to learn things, for example. You got to learn new things, and you got to grow. In essence, in itself, self-discipline right there, once again, applies to this whole discussion. So thank you, everybody, for who's joining me on this Facebook Live podcast. Facebook Live feed broadcast. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna keep doing these things. After I do this Facebook Live post, I end up actually extracting the audio and I upload it to my podcast. And once I upload it to my podcast, it just goes everywhere. I mean, it goes to YouTube, it goes to SoundCloud, Twitter, again, it goes to Facebook, YouTube. It just goes everywhere. And even, most importantly, it goes to my website. So whatever you want to do, I encourage you. Stay ethical, stay humble, and just keep working hard, because self-discipline has a lot to do with working hard as well. I hope that your future becomes bright, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good rest of the night. Peace.